Welcome to History Along US 99, presented by the Historic Highway 99 Association of California, with your host, Michael Ballard. Today's topic, the basics of the historic ridge route between Los Angeles and Bakersfield. One of the first roads to be constructed under the 1909 highway bonds by the state of California was the Castaic to Hone Ridge Road, known today as the Ridge Route. Hailed as a marvel of engineering in its time, it would last as the main road from Los Angeles to Bakersfield for 18 years. The roadway exists today in segments and is in part federally protected on the National Register of Historic Places. The Ridge Route was the first major highway project and first new mountain road project undertaken by the state. Surveys began for the Ridge Route in 1912, mostly following a ridge line which ran from Castaic to Gorman. Construction commenced shortly after, using mostly manual labor consisting of picks, shovels, and Fresno scrapers. The highway was opened in October 1915. At first, the highway was only oiled and graded. Starting in late 1917, the highway was closed while it was paved with a 20-foot wide slab of reinforced concrete. Paving was completed by early 1920. As there was only a finite amount of money for the project, this route was used to keep costs down. Following the ridge kept costs down as no bridges were needed. Keeping costs down did have its problems, though. The maximum grade allowed on the ridge route was 6%. To keep this gradient, many curves were added to the roadway. So many curves had to be used, in fact, that the total curvature added to over 110 complete circles in the 30-mile stretch. This fact would quickly make the highway a very dangerous and slow one. Collisions became commonplace. A speed limit of 15 miles an hour was put in place along the entire road from Castaic to Gorman as a result of this. Sections of the roadway gained nicknames like Serpentine Drive, as shown here, where the road snaked down the ridge and changed quite a bit of elevation in a short distance. Road cuts were kept to a minimum where possible, though one of them, known as Swede's Cut or Castaic Cut, was 110 feet deep. Many sections of the road needed to be realigned for safety. Many of the cuts were daylighted, a process in which the hillside is cut back to increase visibility. In other places, the roadway was widened where it was possible. These realigned sections were paved with an early version of asphalt paving. Much of these early paving surfaces are still around today. We'll talk about this in more detail later in the video. By the late 1920s, it was evident that this work was only a temporary measure. A new route had to be found. This option was both more economical and less disrupting to traffic. The new route, called the Ridge Route Alternate, was officially opened on October 29, 1933, completely bypassing the old Ridge Route. On October 2, 1934, the Ridge Route was officially relinquished to the County of Los Angeles by the Division of Highways. This bypass forever relegated the old road to a scenic side road traveled by few. In doing so, the Ridge Route was effectively preserved, almost like a time capsule, unlike any other roadway in the region. The road remained open for the most part until January 2005, when heavy rains caused 3 landslides to take out parts of the road, making it impassable. Other slides nearby damaged oil and gas pipelines which followed the road, necessitating its full closure. In 2007, the Ridge Route Preservation Organization helped organize efforts to repair the slides along the roadway. Repairs were completed not long afterward. In 2010, the Forest Service resurfaced and repaired another section of the roadway near the south end. This was done as a demonstration project to show one of the potential methods of restoring the Ridge Route to its original glory. Such methods may be used on more heavily damaged sections, but aren't planned for the entire roadway. The Ridge Route Preservation Organization is also currently working with the Forest Service and County of Los Angeles to reopen the road fully to the public with a goal of summer 2026. Certain projects, such as repair of a landslide at the south end, are necessary before the roadway would be safe to reopen. The road is still closed as of late 2025. Let's talk about the road itself. The Ridge Route today, where the original surfacing remains intact, consists of three distinct sections of pavement. Starting from the South Forest Service Gate to just north of Swedes Cut, the 1919 concrete is covered with a thin layer of asphalt known as a wearing surface, which was an experiment to try to protect and extend the life of the concrete roadway, which was considered a base at the time. From just north of Swedes Cut to near the Tumble Inn, the 1919 concrete remains mostly exposed and is in pretty good shape overall. The last section, from the Tumble Inn to Pine Canyon Road, is in the roughest shape. Here, the concrete is only partially covered, and the surface is broken in many places. Part of this is due to a change in the underlying geology. In addition to the concrete and associated wearing surfaces, early forms of asphaltic paving were used on the road, mostly in realignments or curve corrections. These sections can be easily spotted as a large aggregate asphalt paving. Different types were used as it was experimental at the time. Varying ideas of aggregate size, adhesion material using asphalt, oil, or tar, as well as thickness of the paving were all tried. As you can see, not all the ideas worked out, but considering this asphalt is over 100 years old and was once the main road in California, it has held up pretty well. Between 1923 and 1927, many attempts to straighten the roadway took place. Some of these were minor curve corrections, where a sharp curve would be lessened by either cutting into the hill or adding fill. In some more extreme instances, at places such as near the Tumble Inn and the Callahan line change, multiple curves were removed and replaced with a much straighter road, abandoning the original sections of the road much like a river does when it creates an oxbow lake. The Callahan line change near Castaic was one of the biggest realignments on the ridge. It was featured many times in California highways and is even shown on a few postcard views. Today, only a portion of it remains, as it was removed in 1970 during construction of southbound I-5. The roadway itself also includes some very interesting features. Imprints of tires, boots, and animal prints can be found at various sites along the way. As shown here, the roadway is covered in animal tracks. Deer and possibly a coyote track can be seen, along with other smaller mammal tracks. A mile or so south of the Tumble Inn site, a three-point turn made while the concrete was still wet can be found. I nicknamed it the 100-year-old mistake and cover-up, as it does appear there was an attempt at the time to cover the tracks. Another site has a boot print and tire tracks leaving the scene, almost like something out of an old noir detective story. Another interesting feature of the road is the use of superelevation in curves. Superelevation is a term used for how a roadway is banked, usually in curves. At the time, it was experimental, much like so many of the other features of the road. Modern roads use this quite often to help increase the speed a car can travel in curves. The Ridge Route used it to help slow cars as they descended the steep grades along the road. A section of roadway on North Reservoir Grade, shown here, has the best example of these early attempts, with the road looking more like a warped ribbon undulating over the terrain. Other examples along the road are not quite as extreme, such as here, where a broader curve is gently sloped to the side. As the road was usually alongside a cliff, various methods had to be employed to keep vehicles from falling off the road. Many miles of curbing were constructed, which helped push vehicles back onto the roadway if they veered off. These curbs also helped with drainage, preventing water from running off in places that could erode more easily and directing it to metal drainages and culverts. These curbs didn't last too long, though, as trucks also used them to slow down by rubbing their tires up against them. Later realignments of the road also caused sections to be removed and not replaced. Today, only two short sections remain. one along Serpentine Drive and the other just south of Templin Highway. If you look along the edge of the concrete, you can sometimes see there used to be curbing. Wooden railing also used to help keep motorists safe. Different types of railing were used, ranging from a simple fence style to laminated beams, which in the end proved to be stronger. Much like the curbing, almost all of the railing would be lost through fire, collisions, and realignments. Small sections remain if you know where to look. Remnants of white centerline striping can be found along the road. This striping represents some of the first centerline striping ever placed on a roadway in California. There are two different eras of striping visible on the ridge route. The oldest is along the center of the concrete roadway itself. Nearly all of it is gone, but a trace can be seen as a faint line in the middle of the road. It likely doesn't line up to the center of the current road, so keep an eye out where you can. The best place to see this is where the concrete is fully exposed in the central section of the road. Actual striping can be seen in a few places, such as along South Reservoir Grade and near the Tumble Inn. This striping is very faint and not always visible depending on which direction you're going. Maybe you'll find another section when traveling the route. Water sources are a rarity on the ridge route. To mitigate this, a 4-inch pipe was laid from a source near Sandberg at the northern end to a series of 3 reservoirs along the road, with the last south of Templin Highway. These were initially constructed to provide water for the concrete paving. They were later used to supply water to the businesses along the road and to radiator troughs for overheating cars. 2 of those reservoirs remain. The northernmost, at Reservoir Summit, is still there but no longer holds water regularly. The middle one, above the National Forest Inn site, is somewhat obscured but still remains. The southern one, just south of Templin Highway, was removed at some point later. Remnants of the pipe that connected them can be seen alongside the road today. It is usually seen sticking out of the earth a few feet above the current roadway and disconnected. While there are large electrical lines above the road, other smaller ones ran more directly along the road to serve the few businesses along the way. Most were either removed or burned down many years ago, leaving little trace today. Portions of those poles remain visible near Kelly's Halfway Inn. As you can see, there's quite a bit to explore on the old ridge route. The thing that makes it so unique as a roadway is the road itself. Its bypass and being forgotten, giving us this time capsule, is what makes it special. You can traverse more than 100-year-old concrete and asphalt paving. You can see the same sights that travelers saw as they traveled the predecessor to today's I-5 more than 90 years ago. While the road is closed to through travel, the Ridge Route Preservation Organization hosts multiple events that allow you to go over the road and experience the wonder of this engineering marvel. Come join them and help preserve, rehabilitate, and enjoy this scenic California landmark. You can find out more information about their work and how you can join at ridgeroute.org. If you're unable to join or come up to see the road before it reopens, it is open to travel from Castaic to just north of Templin Highway and from the Tumble Inn to State Highway 138. The northern end has the best display of original roadway surfacing that is currently open, but beware that roadway conditions may be rough for standard autos. Just a reminder, if you see the gates open, it is not recommended to pass them as they may close behind you or may not be open ahead of you. Thank you for joining us on this journey over the historic Ridge Route, a significant part of US 99 in California. It is truly the road that united California. Make sure to like and subscribe to this channel for more history along US 99. As we are a nonprofit, we also accept donations to help us continue to produce such content, which can be tax deductible. As always, when you're through getting your kicks on Route 66, come wine and dine on Route 99.